Welcome into SCO Buff Sports. I'm Matt Gillen.
And I'm Zoe Paulson.
We just saw the women's basketball team lose their NCAA tournament game. We'll get into that in a minute, but first let's focus on the positives. Buffs, it's officially spring break. All my friends are on a beach in Cabo right now, but there's no place I'd rather be than right here in the second basement studio in front of a green screen with makeup on, right Zoe?
Of course, Matt. What's a pina colada when you have SCO Buff Sports?
And the Buffs in the big dance? Let's get right into it.
Maya Hollingshed made the right call, running it back with the Buffs this year instead of going pro. The basketball team finished the regular season with a 20-7 overall record and a 9-7 record in the Pac-12. That's the best conference mark for the women's program since 2013. They kicked off their season with 14 straight wins. They were the last undefeated team in college basketball. The Buffs played in some big games throughout the season, sweeping the California schools, UNLV, and USC. 3 Buffaloes received postseason honors as Quay Miller was voted the conference's 6th player of the year. Maya Hollingshed earned her 2nd consecutive All-Pac-12 honor. And freshman Kendall Wetta was named to the All-Defensive and All-Freshman teams.
That incredible year ended with the women dancing for the first time since 2013. SCO Buffs reporter Meghan MacPherson attended the Selection Sunday event for the women's basketball team. Here's a look into that moment of bliss.
7.
For the first time since 2013, the Colorado women's basketball team is headed to the big dance.
It feels like we're fulfilling something that we've been working towards every single day for 6 years. And come close but fallen short, And so to have finally reached, this opportunity is really great.
Last Sunday, the Buffs gathered with friends, family, and fans to celebrate their tournament berth. The cheers were loud and proud as the women earned a number 7 seed. And for 5th-year senior Maya Hollingshed, that moment meant everything.
I just hope we just go to the tournament and do what we talked about and just go as far as we can. We already made it to where we wanted to be, and to finally be in a position to actually compete in the NCAA tournament, it means amazing. It means a lot.
The CU women will open up tournament play this Friday with a matchup against Creighton, and junior center Quay Miller says that the energy within the team is at an all-time high.
I think we're pretty much all just ecstatic. We worked all season to get here, so I don't know. It's just a big accomplishment for us as a program.
Unfortunately, the team's incredible season came to an end today. The squad took on the 10th-seeded Creighton Blue Jays in Iowa. It was a hard-fought game down to the buzzer, but the Buffaloes unfortunately fell 84-74 in an offensive battle. The Buffs had a lackluster second quarter where Creighton pulled away. CU never really recovered. The Buffs were led by Jalen Sherrod, who was as hot as could be, scoring a season-high 27 points. She also grabbed 5 boards and dished out 5 assists. Maya Hollingshed played her last game in the black and gold, putting up 15 points and 5 rebounds. One of the best Buffaloes to step on the court in recent memory, she played in 177 games for J.R. Payne's program. We hope Hollingshed takes her skills seamlessly to the next level.
It's a sad ending to an amazing season for the women's basketball team. But the team offers plenty of hope for the future. All of us here at SCO Buff Sports wish them all the best of luck, and we are very, very excited to see what happens in the next few years. The men's basketball team was also in on the action.
To Las Vegas and attend the Pac-12 men's basketball tournament. Colorado had the 4 seed going into the competition, earning a bye. On Wednesday, I took the opportunity to talk with some Pac-12 fans, and I was able to chat with John McKinley and Marilyn Easton.
Right.
Number 2 in the nation?
Number 2 in the nation, so we got a pretty awesome team and a fabulous coach. The coach that should be the player or the coach of the year for the country, right?
And all of our kids went to the U of A. I went to the U of A twice.
Wow.
We've been season ticket holders since 1986.
Wow.
Yeah, this is Marilyn Easton. She's like the super fan.
No.
What do you think of the Colorado upset?
Who did they upset?
Colorado played Arizona at home and they beat them by like a 10-point margin.
Yeah.
We missed that game. We don't want to talk
We would
about it.
love
We
to
were
play
on-
them again.
We were here watching the women.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Last week, too.
The women are doing well too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
so
lost last
I've got
week
a
and then
home
for
in
Monday.
Granby, just outside of Granby, Colorado, on the
Okay.
Colorado River. So, you know, I have kids born in Colorado, but we're diehard U of A, right?
As far as what happened, the Ducks managed to win Wednesday, advancing to take on the Buffs on Thursday. The Buffs put on an electric performance against Oregon. Jabari Walker, Evan Batty, Tristan Da Silva, and KJ Simpson all scored double digits. Batty and Walker both even-notched double-doubles. Quincy Guerrier had his best season performance, putting up 25 points and 13 rebounds. And Jacob Young heavily contributed to the Ducks' tenacity with 18 points. But it just wasn't enough. The Buffs won 80-69.
The fact that we're playing together now, playing for each other, defensively and offensively, and it shows in our assist numbers, it shows in the way the ball's moving, and it shows in the win column. So, I have no worries to that, but I just say we gotten better.
Colorado matched up with the class of the conference on Friday. The arena was packed with Arizona fans, but I felt somewhat close to home sitting next to the smaller Buff student section. Jabari Walker went 5 for 5 from downtown to start off. Walker carried the team through the first, but foul trouble loomed in the second. Walker, Batty, and Simpson accumulated 4 personals, and Da Silva was tagged for 3. The Wildcats found their shots and finished. Everyone on the Cats except Christian Coloco and Pell Larson ended in double figures. I witnessed some disheartening dunks and multiple CU fan-contested fouls later in the second. Unfortunately, the Buffs' pursuits to the conference championship was over. Arizona won 82-72. Boyle thought the Buffs were going to get snubbed from the March Madness selection on Sunday, despite their strong season in a power conference.
Well, I think, quite frankly, I think there's a big bias with East Coast and quite frankly, ESPN. Nobody. I mean, they're talking about Virginia Tech. They got one quad one win. We got 3. They're squarely on the bubble. We're not even in a conversation. So yeah, I hope the committee is smarter than the people that are putting that thing together. But look, I can't sit here and pound the table for Colorado because we lost to Southern Illinois. We had 10 losses, but we have a young team. And if you look at the Colorado team today relative to where we were in November, December, if you don't think we're one of the top 68 teams in the country, you're sorely mistaken.
Scary.
CU fans may speculate how the Buffs may have been potentially snubbed for Rutgers, but Boyle's boys took the hardwood on Tuesday in the National Invitation Tournament.
The Buffs' first-round NIT game was on Tuesday, just as Nikki Edwards reported. Unfortunately, Tad's Boyle's arguments might have been exposed as the Buffs suffered a heartbreaking loss. They fell to the St. Bonaventure 76-68. The game was a battle. There were 8 lead changes throughout the night, but the Bonnies went on an 8-0 run to finish the contest. Colorado struggled to stop the Bonnies, who shot 52% from the field and 50% from the 3. Keyshawn Bartholomew led the Buffs in scoring with 15 points, followed by Evan Batty, who scored 14 in what will be his last game in the black and gold. The Buff have lots of questions to answer this offseason, most notably if their star player Jabari Walker will return it in Boulder or head to the NBA.
Speaking of the NIT tournament, did you know that the men's team has won that competition before? Our trivia question for this week is, when was the last time that the Buffs won the NIT? Is it A, 1964, B, 1940, C, 1986, or D, 1991? Tweet us the answer at SBS_CU for a chance to be featured in next week's show. White. You might have known him as a professional wrestler named Big Van Vader. However, did you know that he also played at CU as an offensive lineman? Having started in at least one game in each of his seasons at CU, he is the only known player in Buffs history to start games in 5 different years. He eventually made his way to the NFL, where he was drafted by the LA Rams. After injuries sidelined him early on, he eventually made the decision to switch to professional wrestling. He made his debut in the 1996 WWE Royal Rumble. After a career filled with excitement, he passed away in 2018. Coming this April 1st, he will be posthumously inducted into the WWE Class of 22 Hall of Fame.
The women's lacrosse team had a tough time in Tempe on Sunday as they dropped their game to the Arizona State Sun Devils, 20-6. CU is now 5-2 overall, with both their losses coming in Pac-12 play. Coach Ann Elliott Witten said, "They just beat us in absolutely every way possible, and she knows her team is more than capable of putting in a better effort against the Sun Devils." Tonight, the Buffs will head to Eugene to take on the Ducks at 6 p.m.
But that's not all the lacrosse news we have for you tonight. Our men's club lacrosse team raked in 2 wins last weekend at Kittredge Field in Boulder, including a shutout 19-0 win against Nevada. But then yesterday, they lost a St. Patty's Day game in a close matchup against Florida State. This brings their record to an even 2-2. They play again tomorrow night versus Washington.
Next up, Sam Mustafa catches up on the Buffs in the pros in this edition of Buff Banter.
It's Sam Mustafa, back for another week of Buff Banter. While it was a sad ending to our current men's basketball season, former Buff superstar Spencer Dinwiddie has been playing huge. A few weeks ago, we talked about his trade from Washington to Dallas. He's helped pushing his new team into the postseason, strengthening the Mavs backcourt. This past Sunday, Dinwiddie hit a game-winning 3 to vault the Mavericks over the Celtics in a thriller. Then, in Dallas' next game this Wednesday, the Mavericks were down by 1 when Dinwiddie did it again, hitting a buzzer-beating game-winning 3 to take down the Brooklyn Nets. Dinwiddie took the Buffs to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. That remains the only time the men's team has made it to the big dance 3 times in a row. We wish Dinwiddie and the Mavericks good luck finishing out the NBA season, as they are currently going for home court advantage. We'll always be rooting for the first mayor and all of our forever Buffs. Stick around, and we'll be right back on Sco Buff Sports.
This week, Sco Buff Sports recognizes 3 athletes who put up impressive showings. Our first 2 athletes are Chloe Willard and Devin Bayer, who both took home Pac-12 Player of the Week honors. Last week, each helped the women's lacrosse team to a pair of wins. Willard would score 7 goals in 3-game span, bringing her total to 12 on the season. Bayer also had an impressive performance on March 6th, winning 14 total draws against UC Davis, the second most in school history. Our third student of the week is basketball player Jabari Walker. Walker tallied 63 minutes of play through the Pac-12 tournament. The sophomore helped the Buffs to their 4th semifinal appearance in the Tad Boyle era. In their 2 contests, Walker combined for 37 points and 21 rebounds.
The Rocky Mountain Showdown on the court did not end well for the tennis team on Tuesday. To make matters worse, Colorado State earned their first Power 5 win since 2004. The Buffaloes trailed in matches the entire afternoon, ultimately losing 4-2. The Buffs are now on a 3-match losing streak, and it doesn't get easier for CU anytime soon. They head out to the Bay Area for a match with number 21 ranked Stanford this afternoon.
With the indoor season in the rearview mirror, the CU track and field team is headed outside. This week, they'll play host to the 2022 Jerry Quiller Classic today and tomorrow. Events such as hammer throws, javelin, and triple jumps will occur today, with the rest of the field and running events beginning at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.
The women's golf team finished the Briars Creek Invitational in 13th place on Tuesday. The Buffs' effort in South Carolina was led by sophomore Haley Schalk. She recorded her first ever collegiate top 20 finish, tying for 15th at the tournament. The team started a new 3-day tournament today in sunny Phoenix, Arizona.
Across the country, our men's team finished the Lambkin Grips San Diego Classic tied for 14th. The finish was a bit disappointing for the Buffs, as the team was tied for 9th place midway through the final round before falling 5 spots. Still, the Buffs had a bright spot as freshman Justin Breer finished 18th with a 2-under par final round. Next Friday, the team heads to Palo Alto, where they will play a 3-day tournament at the Stanford University Golf Course.
It's almost that time. Jimmy Searfrost has a red-hot, scorching edition of Rapid Fire coming up next.
Who's the biggest Buff fan here?
Me! That guy.
School Buff.
Go Buffs, baby! We're all about the Buffs!
School Buff!
They can't contain us. We're the best. We can't be stopped.
School Buff! School Buffs! School Buffs!
What's up, Buffs? I'm Jimmy Searfoss. Welcome back to Rapid Fire. Happy spring break, but not everyone gets a vacation as our Buff athletics are still rolling. First up, our 25th ranked women's lacrosse team. They're taking on Oregon in Eugene today at 6. They've never lost to Oregon, and they're looking to keep that streak alive. The track and field team is also active today and tomorrow as they open up the outdoor season here in Boulder. The Jerry Quiller Classic runs all day, so be sure to check it out. On the 23rd, the Colorado tennis team travels to take on Wyoming. They won their last matchup 7-0. Last for us today is the men's golf team, who is traveling to Palo Alto. The first round is on the 24th, and they'll be playing through the 26th. With that being said, have a great spring break, Buffs. Back to you, Zoe and Matt.
Now time for the moment we've all been waiting for, this week's answer to the trivia question. Remember, we asked you when was the last time that the men's basketball team won the NIT. The answer is 1940, in the game that all of us remember. Led by head coach Frosty Cox and MVP Bob Dahl, the Buffs triumphed to a 51-40 victory over Duquesne to claim their one and only NIT championship in school history.
Peanut Dutelli wins our tweet of the week for the second show in a row. She tweeted that she knew this year's Buffs team was special. And it was. She shouted out the seniors and was ready to make some noise in March. Sadly, their march ended quickly, but we still wanted to shout them out for such a fun year. From all of us at Go Buff Sports, we thank you for such an amazing and exciting season.
Speaking of madness, spring break starts in 30 seconds. Any plans, Zoe?
I'll be California dreaming that I had picked a better bracket because my choices were not so great so far.
Yeah, you're telling me that you didn't pick the 18.5-point underdog St. Peter Peacocks?
You know, the only Peacock basketball team I had ever seen is the one from Will Smith's high school in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Anyways, have a great break out there and...
Go Buffs!